Paraji.
Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we had finished the four pada analysis and we were on the Omkara analysis, right? So we have finished the 8th mantra and we will look at the 9th mantra now. We will chant. Please unmute yourself. Jagarit sthano vaishvanarokaraha
Jagarit sthano vaishvanarokaraha
prathama matra
prathama matra
apteradimatvat apnoti havai sarvan kamadischa
apnoti havai manadischa
bhavati evam veda.
Bhavati Veda.
Okay, so you guys seem to have some difficulty with the chanting. So let us just have a look at this. Jagrita sthanaha. That is the first word. Jagrita sthanaha. Vaishvanaraha. Akaraha. Prathama matra. So that is one sentence. Jagrita sthanaha. Vaishvanaraha. Akaraha. Prathama matra. Okay. Then it is aptehe adimatvat. So aptehe adimatvat. Then apnoti havai sarvan kaman adischa bhavati ya evam veda. Okay, so that is the breakup. Let us see how the reading is going to be. So here the each matra of Om, we have four matras: Akara, Ukara, Makara, and what is the fourth matra?
amatra.
Amatra. And we have four padas also. What are the fourth padas?
Surya.
Four padas. What are the four of them?
Vishwa, Tejasa, Prajna, and Turyam.
Vishwa, Tejasa, Prajna, and Turyam. Right. So these you should not forget. So now we are talking about the first matra. So he says Jagrita Sthanaha, Vaishvanaraha, Akaraha, Prathama matra. Then there are two words, Aptehe and Adimatvat. So Akaraha, Prathama matra. You'll take those words. Akaraha, Prathama matra, which means A is the first matra. So you're defining Akaraha, Prathama matra. A is the first matra. And what is the equation? It should be equated to Jagrita Sthanaha Vaishvanaraha. Okay. Jagrita Sthanaha Vaishvanaraha means the consciousness in the Jagrita Avastha. Sthanaha is to be taken as the state. So Jagrita Sthanaha is waking state. Vaishvanaraha. So here Vaishvanaraha, you remember now when we take Vaishvanaraha, you have to take both the micro and the macro manifestations at the Jagrita state. So in Jagrita Avastha, what is the micro manifestation called? Vishwa. What is the Samashti manifestation called?
Virat.
Virat. Right. So in the Jagrata Avastha, in the waking state, consciousness is available at micro level and macro level. At Vyashti level and Samashti level, that consciousness is associated with certain upadhis. At the Vyashti level, at the micro level, it's associated with the individual body, mind, sense complex. And that consciousness is called Vishwa. That very same consciousness in the Jagrata Avastha associated with the universal body, mind, sense complex is called Virat. So why is why is the Akara, the alphabet why is being equated to Prathama Padaha, to Vishwa and Virat? So remember that whenever there is an equation, or rather, whenever you are using some symbol for representing something else, you should ensure that the symbol and the object have some amount of common features, right? This is because when you use the symbol afterwards, then because of association, because of the common features which are associated with the symbol and the object, by using the symbol, you will remember the object which it represents. Okay, for example, green color. Green color is used to represent prosperity. Okay, now prosperity means, how do you say that green color represents prosperity? Any idea?
Green is the color of all the grass and everything, so that is always taken as, in terms of wealth, to be taken as prosperity.
Very good, Rinku. So green is the color of crops, trees, etc. And that was taken as wealth earlier, right? So green represents prosperity. So that is what is being conveyed in the next two words, aptehe and adimatvatva. Okay, so aptehe. The word aptaha means sarvagataha, all pervading. So the first common feature between Virat, that is the samashti version of that consciousness in the Jagrata Avastha, and Akara, the alphabet, is aptehe, all pervading. So how we'll see later. Aptehe, the first common feature is that Virat is all pervading, and the alphabet of Om, Akara, is also all pervading. And Adimatva. Adimatva means it is the first one, the first born. So Virat is the firstborn, and Akara is also the firstborn. Okay, now in the science of phonetics, right? We have done phonetics, at least some basic work on phonetics in an earlier Upanishad. Which Upanishad?
Taittiriya.
Taittiriya Upanishad. Which is the chapter?
First chapter.
First chapter.
Called what?
When it is about how we have to meditate on the phonetics, then for
Correct. What is
purpose.
the name of that chapter? Shiksha Valli. Right? So science of phonetics called Shiksha Valli, Shiksha Sastram. In Shiksha Sastram, in the science of phonetics, it is pointed out that the first sound which comes out when you open your mouth is what? And therefore, is the basic sound. And it is this alone which modifies into all the other sounds. Like you modify your tongue position, modify your lips position. And the first basic sound, it becomes E, it becomes U, it even becomes ma when you stop the talk, right? And therefore, is the basic material which transforms into all other alphabetic letters. So Siksha Shastram, phonetic science, says that is the cause, the Karana Aksharam, the alphabet which is the cause for all the other alphabets. So A is Karana Aksharam and all the other alphabets are Karya Aksharani. All the alphabets are Karyam only. And we know the rule that just as gold pervades all the products, therefore the conclusion is what? The Karanam pervades all the Karyams. The cause pervades all the products. And therefore, when you say that A is the Karanam and all the other alphabets are the Karyam, you are saying that A pervades all the other alphabets, right? So that is why A is said to be all pervading. Okay. Now Virat is all pervading, right? Why is Virat all pervading? Why is
It is
Virat
the
all pervading?
it is the macro physical gross.
It is the macro physical universe, it is the gross universe, it is all pervading. Whatever is all pervading is called Virat. That is why it's all pervading. Okay. And therefore the letter A is Sarva Vyapi, all pervading, and Virat is also Sarva Vyapi, all pervading. So that is the first feature. And the second common feature is Adimatvat. Adimatvat means born first. Now, strictly speaking, who is born first? At the Samashti level, who is born first?
Hiranyagarbha.
Hiranyagarbha is born first. Would you say Antaryami is born?
No, it's always present as Karan Shariram in the unmanifest form.
Correct. And therefore, Hiranyagarbha is, strictly speaking, Hiranyagarbha is born first. But here, in the process of inquiry into Brahman, we start with Anatma or Atma.
Natma.
We start with Anatma. And therefore, when inquiring into Brahman, you start with Virat. And therefore, for this purpose, here Virat is said to be Adimatvaha, the firstborn. Right? And as I said earlier, the moment you open your mouth, is the sound which comes out. Is the firstborn. And therefore, there are two common features of Virat and Akara. One is what? All pervading, and the other is firstborn. And Shruti says that this all pervading firstborn, you have to meditate upon. Akara, you have to meditate upon. And when you meditate upon Akara, you should meditate upon the all pervading nature of Akara, which symbolizes Virat, as well as the firstborn nature of Akara, which symbolizes Virat. And therefore, is the Alambanam, the symbol on which Virat Ishvara is invoked in your meditation. Right? Just as Salagrama and Shivalinga are the Alambanam for Vishnu and Shiva meditation, the is the Alambanam for Virat Ishvara meditation. And therefore, in the process of your Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda training, our mind should be trained in such a way that the moment we bring to our mind, Vishwarupa Ishvara, Virat, should also come to our mind. And when we do this, we must remember the two common features, the all-pervasive nature and the firstborn nature also. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so now, in concluding, Virat pervades the objective world called the Artha Prapancha, and Akara pervades the world of words called the Shabda Prapancha. So he ends up by saying Ya Evam Veda. For the one who has understood this and does upasana in this manner, what will be the phalam? Apnoti havai sarvan kaman. So he gets all the fulfillment of all his desires. How? By doing upasana on Akara, Virat, Aikyam. Of course, the moment you say there is a result, there is a phalam, apnoti, he gets, he acquires. Sarvan kaman, all his desires are fulfilled. It means it is sakama upasana, right? And therefore, there is also one more word, adi, right? So that adi, Shankara comments by saying, adi means he becomes Mahatma, he becomes among the great persons, he becomes the best. In short, whatever he does, he will be the best at whatever he does. This is the result of Sakama Upasana, which is what is being talked about in this particular mantra. But we should also remember that you can do the same Upasana in a Nishkama manner. In fact, as a Vedantic seeker, you should not be looking at the Upasana for Sakama purposes, but you should be looking at a Nishkama Upasana. And if you do it in a Nishkama Upasana manner, what is the benefit?
Expansion of mind.
Chitta
Expansion of
Shuddhi
mind
and Brahma Loka.
Chitta Shuddhi, basically. Okay, so we're talking about Chitta Shuddhi. Brahma Loka, remember, is Sakama Upasana Phalam, because you are asked for that. But if you are doing in a purely Nishkama manner, without asking for any Phalam, then it is Chitta Shuddhi only. And that Chitta Shuddhi will take you where? It will take you to Jnana. Right? So, in fact, when you are doing this Omkara Upasana, it is not that you will take A first, Oof next, and Ma third. It's not like that. Your mind will simultaneously encompass Om. And therefore, simultaneously, you should be getting all the three in your mind, which you will see. What A represents, what O represents, and what Ma represents. All three you will be able to invoke. And finally, when you reach Akara stage is Turiam. So this training is necessary to understand that Turiam represents the consciousness alone. Okay. Now we go to mantra number 10. So please unmute yourself. We will chant mantra number 10. We have finished Jagrata Sthanaha, Jagrata Avastha. The next one is Swapna Avastha. So we will chant. Swapna Sthanas Taijasaha.
Swapnasthanastaijasaha.
Ukaro Dvitiya.
Ukaro ya.
So that there's a long word over there. Okay, so I'll break it up for you. Matrat, Utkarshat, Ubhayatvat, Utkarshati. So we'll chant it again with all these breakups. Swapnasthanas Taijasa Ukaro Dvitiya Matraha.
Swapna
Utkarshat Va Ubhayatvat. Utkarshati Havai Jnana Santatim.
Utkarshati
Utkarshati havai jnana santatim.
Samanascha Bhavati.
Samanasya
Nashya bhavati.
Na asya Brahmavit Kule Bhavati.
na
Na asya brahma vitkule bhavati.
Ya evam Veda.
ya evam
Ya evam veda.
Okay. Now let us look at the words. I don't know which text you have, but there's a running text which can confuse. So let's look at the individual words. Swapna sthanaha taijasaha. So in the swapna avastha, the consciousness associated with swapna avastha is called what? Taijasaha. Swapna sthanas taijasaha. And this taijasaha, ukaro dvitiya matraha, is equated with the dvitiya matra, with the second matra of Om, which is ukaraha. And therefore, ukaraha is the symbol, the alambanam, for invoking Taijasa at the micro level. And of course, we have to add for invoking the samashti corresponding of Taijasa is what?
Hiranyagarbha.
Hiranyagarbha. So Ukara is the alambanam for invoking at the micro level, at the Vashti level, invoking Tajasaha, and at the Samashti level, invoking Hiranyagarbha. And as before, there are some common features. Utkarshat. The Utkarsha means superior. So superiority of Hiranyagarbha is over Virat. It is being mentioned here. Why is Hiranyagarbha superior to Virat?
It is the cosmic mind from which the entire creation is born. So it is the subtle aspect.
Would you like to reword that?
Mhm.
Hiranyagarbha is the
Subtler.
Karanam for Virat.
Virat. Okay.
And the Karanam is always superior to the Karyam. And therefore Utkarshat means Hiranyagarbha, the Karanam, is superior to Virat, who is the Karyam. Right? Therefore, the Sukshma, subtle is Karanam, and the gross Sthulam is always Karyam. Okay, that's one. What about U? Now, that's a very subtle meaning over. Utkarshat indicates superiority of Hiranyagarbha over Virat. Right? So the Pada Tajasa is superior, is being indicated here. Why would you say that the Matra U is superior to the Matra A? So the answer is very simple. Because the words indicating superiority is what? Utkrishtaha, Uttamaha, Utkrishtaha. All these are words starting with U. And therefore he says U is superior to A. Because the very word U, very alphabet U, is used to start the words which reveal the superior status of something. So Uttamam, Utkrishtam, all this is superior. Right? Okay, that is one part of it. And what is second one? He says Ubhayatvad. Ubhayatvat. Ubhayam here means number two. Number two means what in this context? Both are number two. Tajasa is number two. Second one. So Ubhayatvat. Both are number two.
Because Antaryami is the main Karanam for Hiranyagarbha, so it is in between similarly for Tejasa.
Okay, here if you take the answer is very simple. If you take the three padas, Tajasa is the middle pada. If you take the three matras, U is the middle matra. So Ubhayatvad means both Virat and Ukara are in the middle. That is the similarity. There are two similarities there. Both are superior to the first one and both are in the middle. So at the macro level also, Hiranyagarbha is in the middle. Similarly, is in between U is in between and Ma. And thus, Ukara is connected to both the beginning and the end. Ukara is connected to Akara and Makara. And Hiranyagarbha is connected to Virat as well as Antaryami. Similarly, you can say Taijasa is the link between Vishwa and Prajna. So two common features. One is the superiority of Hiranyagarbha over Virat and the superiority of Ukara over Akara. And the second feature is both are in the middle. And so he says, Ya evam Veda, one who meditates in this manner using these common features, what is the phalam? Utkarshati ha vai jnana santatim. So jnana santatim means the range of knowledge. Because of the meditation on Hiranyagarbha, remember is Samashti Jnana Shakti. Why is it Samashti Jnana Shakti? Why is Hiranyagarbha that supposed to be the total knowledge?
Because it is total Sukshma Sharira.
Total Sukshma Shariram, which means
Total mind or intellect.
total Vijnanamaya Kosha.
Intellect.
Total intellect, whatever you say. Fine. So because of the meditation on Hiranyagarbha, the Upasaka's knowledge, the range of knowledge, Jnana Santatim, range of knowledge increases. It extends. Utkarshati. It is superior. Right? And he says Samanascha Bhavati. So you can look at that. There are two words, Utkarshati and Samanascha Bhavati. Samanascha Bhavati means Samanam means equal to, Tulyam. So this person will be the same, Tulyaha, for everybody. He will be the same for enemies. He will be the same for friends. In other words, he will be acceptable to both the groups. Nobody will view him as an adversary. This is the first benefit. And secondly, now this is given as a subsidiary note. If you look at the word, Nasya Brahma with Kule Bhavati, if you break it up, it is Na Asya Kule Abrahmavit Bhavati. Asya Kule, in the family of this person, Abrahmavit Na Bhavati. There will be no one in his family who has not heard about Brahman. Right? This is, of course, Laukika Phalam, not relevant to moksha, but it's incidental information, right? And this is all the Sakama Phalam. You have to add that if this person does this upasana in a Nishkama manner, takes the upasana as a Nishkama upasana, what will happen? He will get Chitta Shuddhi and come to Jnana. Okay. Now we will look at, so we have finished the equation between the first pada and the first matra, the equation between the second pada and the second matra, and now we have to look at the equation between the third pada and the third matra. So mantra number 11. Please unmute yourself. Sushuptasthanah prajnah
Sushuptasthanam
Makarastritiya matra
Makarastritiya
Mitera piterva Piterva. So we'll come to that. Mitera piterva Minoti hava idagam
Noti hava
Sarvam apitischa bhavati Ya evam veda. Okay, so here the mantras are a bit more difficult to pronounce because of the way the words are strung. So sushupta sthanaha prajnyaha. Fair enough. Prajna is the consciousness available in sushupti avastha, and makaras tritiya matra. That prajna, the third pada of the Atma, is equated to what? Makaraha, which is Tritiya Matra, which is the third Matra of Omkaraha. Right? And whenever you say Prajna, you have to remember that at Veshti level, it is Prajna. At Samashti level, it is Antaryami. So Makara is equated to Prajna over here. And he gives an example, right? So, Mitare Piterva. So, you have to break it up into Mitehe Va Apitehe. So, the R disappears. Mitehe Va Apitehe. Okay. What is the meaning? Mitehe is a measuring glass. I don't know if you people have seen, any of you have seen the old Kirana stores, when you go to the Kirana stores, not to the new fangled supermarkets, when you go to the old Kirana stores and you ask for, say, 2 kilos of rice, what does he do? He has a wooden measuring jar. So he puts the measuring jar in the sack, takes out a kilo of rice, pours it into your hand or into your bag, then takes out another the same jar, puts it back again, takes out 1 more kilo, and pours it into your bag. Right? So this example is being used. That mitehe, it's a what happens, you have to imagine. When you you are seeing the grain in the bag of the shop, right? When that shopkeeper puts in the container, the grain disappears into the container because it's a wooden container. You cannot see the grain anymore. It disappears into the wooden container. And then when he pours it into the bag which you have, then that grain appears again. You get the symbolism? The grain first disappears into the jar, and then when he's pouring it back to you, it comes back out of the jar. Is the symbolism clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Similarly, he says, and U of Om, they disappear into Ma, and when the chant is over and recontinues, then from the Ma, the O reappears. Right? So Ma is the resolution ground for A and U. And from the same resolution ground of Ma, A and U appear again when you say Om, because A and U is O. So basically, instead of saying you can say O disappears into Ma, and from Ma, when you continue the chant, O appears again. Therefore, the comparison is what? O is like the rice, the grain, and Ma is like the measuring jar. Just like the rice disappears into the measuring jar and again comes out, the O disappears into Ma and then again comes out. Similarly, Vishwa and Tejasa, they resolve into Prajna during Sushupti Avastha. And when you wake up from Prajna, Vishwa and Tejasa appear. Now, how will you extend this to Omkara? Who will extend this to Omkara? The same logic you have to extend to Omkara.
So when we open our mouth and close our mouth, these things happening.
Yeah, when you open your mouth, or rather, when you're talking, all sort of sounds are there, which are represented by to U.
To
When you close your mouth, the sound is Ma. So the to U, that O sound resolves into Ma and stops. And out of that resolved Ma, all sounds again emerge when you start to speak. Therefore, all sounds are like the grain. That is, and u are like the grain, and ma is like the measuring glass.
Mm.
Therefore, the common feature is that both makara and pragya or antaryami, they serve as the resolution ground for the others, as the layasthanam for the others. And therefore, he says apitehe. Apitehe is the layasthanam. Right?
Right.
Very nice analogies. You need to, of course, understand the words. The words are a bit not very often used, and that's why explanation necessary. Okay, what is the phalam? So he says, Minoti havai idam sarvam. That is the phalam, that is the consequence of this meditation. What is the meditation upon? He is meditating upon mitehe. What is mitehe? It's a measuring glass. And Shankara's explanation is beautiful. He says, therefore, this upasaka will be able to measure the entire Srishti properly. What does he mean? Here, measuring can be taken as assessing or also can be taken as understanding. So, at the Vyashti level, this upasaka will be able to assess all the situations, all the people who come into his life. He will be able to correctly assess them. He will not be deceived by any situation or person. At the samashti level, he will be able to understand creation properly. So, two ways of looking at the word mitehe. That is the first phalam. What is the second phalam? Apitehe. Apita means resolute, resolve, as we said, that everything resolves into ma, everything resolves into antaryami. Therefore, as a result of this upasana, this upasaka, he will resolve into Ishvara. This is called Ishvara Layam. Remember, we have to remember very carefully, this is not equal to moksha. Why? Ishvara Layam here, dissolving into Ishvara, is not equal to moksha. What are the reasons?
Because it is going to be born again.
Correct. Why? Because, yes, upasana phalam, not jnana phalam. There is no jnanam involved over here. This is upasana phalam. And therefore, in the context of upasana, when you say that he merges into Ishvara, remember that merging into Ishvara is for one Srishti. Okay. So rebirth is there. But in that Srishti, he will not have rebirth. He will be born in the next Srishti. Very fine distinction over here. Any questions? I hope it's all clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Nagararaji, this last part is not clear, that he'll be born into another Srishti if he's doing Upasana on
Yes.
Ragni
So
or
he's, because of the, what is the second phalam? Apite, he said, right? Apite means to resolve, to dissolve, actually, to resolve. Is a resolution ground, layasthanam. So because of the what you call upasana on Ishvara, he will resolve into Ishvara. Right? Remember, it's a Ishvara phalam. I mean, it's a upasana phalam, right? Upasana phalam is never moksha. But here's he's specifically saying that he will resolve into Ishvara. And by saying he resolves into Ishvara, you cannot say that he will now be born again in the same Srishti. Because he is resolved into Antaryami. Right? And therefore, at the same time, because it is not Jnana Phalam, you cannot say he will not be born again. And therefore, the what you call conclusion you arrive at is that in this Srishti he will have no more birth, but in the next Srishti he will be born again. Therefore, it is not moksha at all. It is Ishvara Laya. He will not be born for a very long time in this Srishti, but Karana Shariram is still there because he has merged only into Antaryami. The Karana Shariram has not been rendered ineffective, has not been destroyed.
Okay. So it's only about, a time essence that we are speaking of.
Yes, that's why I'm saying is that because in many texts you will find merger into Ishvara being talked about. When you say merger into Ishvara as a jnana phalam, it is moksha. But when you say merger into Ishvara as a upasana phalam, it is not moksha. What then is the difference between rebirth and Ishvara merger? This is the difference.
Thank you.
Okay. What all have we dealt with? We have dealt with the three padas and the three matras. Now we have to go to the fourth pada and the fourth matra. But before that, Gaudapada wants to summarize the whole thing, right? And therefore you will find that the next one is not mantra number 12. The next one is a Kaarika. So we will chant the 19th Kaarika. So please unmute yourself. Vishwasyatva vivikshayam Vishwasyatva vivikshayam Vishwasyat Syatva Vishwasyatva Vivakshayam Vishwasyatva Vivakshayam Adi Samanyam Utkatam Matra Sampratipattau Syat Apti Samanyam Evacha. So in this Karika, the 9th mantra which we have done is being summarized. So he says Matra Sampratipattau. Sampratipatti is basically an equation, equating something to the other, identity. So Sampratipattu is Matra Sampratipattu. The identity of a particular pada of the Atma has been established with a corresponding matra of Omkara. Pada matra identification is matra sampratipattau, right? And what is that? Vishwasya atva vivakshayam, right? Now, atva means what? Atva means akaraha. That's a very nice word. Atvam. Now let us say balatvam. What does it mean? What does balatvam mean? Sorry?
Strength.
What does balam mean?
Strength.
Balam means strength. Balatvam means what? What is the difference? Balam is strength. What is Balatvam? It is the abstract noun of Balam. An abstract noun represents what? The quality of being strong. Right? Balam is strong. Balatvam means the quality of being strong, the nature of being strong. And the same idea you have to take into Atvam, the quality of being which in other words is what?
First.
Akara. Akara is referred to as Atvam, the quality of earnest. Okay. So Vishwasya Atva Vivakshayam. Vishwasya here is Vishwa. So Vishwa Akara Vivakshayam has been equated. The Vishwa has been equated to Akara. That is meant by Vishwasya Atva Vivakshaya. Okay. Now remember that we are talking about meditations, right? So Vishwa and Virat of Atma, that is the Vyashti and the Samashti aspect of Atma, is equated to Akara of Omkara. So Vishwa and Virat represent the entire Jagrat Prapancha. Vishwa represents at the Vyashti level, Virat represents at the Samashti level. So Vishwa Virat means the entire Jagrat Prapancha has been represented, right? And Utkatam Syat. It should become clear. Utkatam means clear. Clarity should be there. When should this clarity be there? When meditation is being done on Akara and Vishwa identity. So when you are chanting Om, as I said, you are not going to separately chant U and Ma, but in the chant, you should be knowing that and U and Ma are involved. So simultaneously, as you begin to chant, Vishwa and Virat should be there in your mind. So this identification, this identity, this equation, Utkatam Syat, should be evident in your mind when this upasana is being done. That is what is meant. And at the time of meditation, there are common features. What are they? Adi Samanyam. Samanyam means common feature. Adi means what? The first. All this we have discussed in that mantra, right? Is the first. Virat is also the firstborn. So Adi Samanyam, is first. Virat is also first. And Apti Samanyam Eva. The all-pervasive nature, the Sarva Vyapaka nature of and Virat, they also have to be kept in mind when you do the upasana. This is a summary of that particular mantra. I hope it's clear. The main features as well as the way in which the meditation is to be done, that has been covered in this Kaarika. Any question?
It's clear, but it's heavy.
It is Mandukya Upanishad. It's going to be heavy. You will need to again and again read it, listen to it, make notes. Okay, we'll have time for just one more. We'll do that. We'll do the Kaarika number 20. Right? So let us chant. Taijasyotva Vijnane
Vijnane
Utkarsho Drashyate Sputam
Utkarsho Drishyate Sputam
Matra Sampratipattau Syat
Matra Sampratipattau Syat
Ubhayatvam Tathavidham.
Ubhayatvam Tathavidham.
So you must be recognizing the words, right? Because the words have already been covered in the mantra. It's only a summary here. So matra sampratipattau, equating a pada with a matra. And which pada is being equated with which matra? Taijasaha utva vijnane. So Taijasaha, the Taijasaha, Taijasayotva vijnane is Taijasaha utva vijnane. Utva is what? The quality of being U. So Ukaraha. Taijasaha is known as being equated to Ukara. So Ukaratva Vivakshayam, you have to supply. Vijnane here means known as or equated to. So when you are measuring, when you are meditating, you have to keep this in mind. So note that in the previous Karika, it was Atva. Here it is Utva. And how should you meditate? Utkarsho drishyate sphutam. Utkarshaha. The superiority of Ukara and Tajasaha, drishyate sphutam, are clearly understood. In what manner? Ukara is superior to Akara and Tajasa is superior to Virat because they are the Karanam. This is understood. And not only that, Tatha vidham syat. The following is also seen. What is that? Ubhayatvam. This also we discussed. Ubhayatvam means what? Ukara is sandwiched in between Akara and Makara. Therefore, Ukara is connected to Akara, Makara. Similarly, Tajasa is sandwiched between Vishwa and Prajna. It is connected to, Tajasa is connected to Vishwa as well as Prajna. So when this particular upasana is being done, remember it's a matra pada aikyam. Which one matra? Ukara to Taijasa aikyam upasana. Remember that, like before, you should meditate upon two aspects. One is at the pada level, there is a superiority of Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha and Ukara, which means the subtle world is superior to the gross world. Why? Because the subtle is the cause of the gross. And therefore, that is why at Vyashti level, the mind is more powerful than the body, because mind is subtler than the body. That is at the pada level. At the matra level, Ukara is superior to Akara, because when you chant Om, the really speaking, resolves into Ukara, right? Even though we say O, we have to take this as resolves into Ukara, and therefore Ukara is the resolution ground for Therefore, it is the cause, it is the ground into which resolves. That's the first level, first common feature. The second common feature is Ubhayatvam, the middleness, so to speak. The Sukshma Prapancha, subtle world, is sandwiched in between the gross world and the causal world, in between Sthula Prapancha and Karana Prapancha. Similarly, Ukara is between Akara and Makara matras. This is the second upasana. The upasana on Makara, the third mantra summarization, we will see in the next class. Any questions? So I'll repeat again. Unlike the earlier Upanishads, there's a much more subtle Upanishad. We need to be able to again and again go over it and make your notes and read your notes Then only as we progress, things will become clear. So with this, we'll stop for today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience. Om Om.
Thank you, Acharya.
Thank you, Acharya.